Belie. To give a false impression of. Jason tried to belie the fact he was a lousy worker by showing up early at the office.
Don't let the boss catch me off work.
Because the large man wanted to belie his gentle personality, he often spoke in a rough tone of voice.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend.
Janice hoped her smile would belie the sadness she felt. Belie. To give a false impression of. Adulation. Great praise for someone, often more than what is deserved. Although Jason was a famous celebrity, he was very uncomfortable with the adulation from his fans. It is obvious that most of the billionaire's adulation comes from people who are simply after his money. My grandmother was a very religious woman who saved her greatest adulation for God. Adulation. Great praise for someone, often more than what is deserved. Dichotomy. A difference between two opposite things or ideas. His dichotomy of heaven and hell became an excellent essay on the contrast between paradise and eternal suffering. The main highlight of his mural is the visual dichotomy illustrating the difference between the moon and the sun. The huge dichotomy between the rich and the poor is one factor which separates the country. Dichotomy. A difference between two opposite things or ideas. Seraphic. Angelic and stunning. When the children put on their angel costumes, they look seraphic. As soon as I heard the seraphic voices of the kids' choir, I started to sob. Jimmy is such an evil little boy that no one would ever call him seraphic.
Shut up.
Seraphic. Angelic and stunning. Feckless. Someone who is irresponsible or ineffective. Larry was such a feckless manager that the company was forced to declare bankruptcy. The police were able to make an arrest because the feckless burglar had left his wallet at the scene of the robbery. Erin had come to accept the fact that her parents would always think that every boyfriend was a feckless loser, no matter how smart and successful he might be. Feckless. Someone who is irresponsible or ineffective. Respite. Brief interval of rest or relief. In most places, summer brings a much-needed respite to teachers and students alike. Gardening is the perfect hobby for those who need respite from hectic city life. After driving through the desert all day, Jack welcomed the respite of an air-conditioned hotel room. Respite. Brief interval of rest or relief. Albeit. Even though, although. The day, albeit a bit cloudy, was perfect for a barbecue. I am a huge fan of Madonna's music, albeit I do not own any of her albums. Juan is a great worker, albeit he often arrives late to the office.
That's alright.
Albeit, even though, although. Beguile. to attract or interest someone. The car salesman tried to beguile the customer with an offer of free gas for a year. To beguile the male of her species, the female insect will often discharge chemicals in the air. After the restaurant owner used coupons to beguile customers, he saw a huge increase in sales. Beguile, to attract or interest someone. Circumvent, to get around something. The burglar tried to find a way to circumvent the alarm system. In order to sneak out of the house, the teenage girl knew she had to circumvent her parents, who were in the living room. The computer hacker knew he would have to circumvent the firewall in order to access the bank's funds. Circumvent, to get around something. Jejune, unsophisticated, simplistic. The billionaire couple refused to eat the jejune dish of chicken wings and tater tots. Although Evan behaved in a jejune manner at the dinner party, he actually teaches international customs at a school for diplomats. The man's 2006 computer is jejune when compared to my 2015 model. Jejune, unsophisticated, simplistic. Idyllic, happy, peaceful, picturesque. The island was an idyllic vacation spot before the tourists came and filled the area with waste. The tiny town by the sea is an idyllic place for the young couple to raise their twin daughters. Growing up, Heather had two wealthy and loving parents who provided her with an idyllic life. Idyllic, happy, peaceful, picturesque. Voracious, having a large appetite, greedy. The football player was a voracious eater who easily consumed 2 chickens during one meal. Since I am a voracious reader, I often read 2 or 3 books a day. The best students are voracious learners who always seek out extra information after class. Voracious, having a large appetite, greedy. Sedulous, diligent, hardworking, and persistent. Even though you completely destroy the ant bed time after time, those sedulous ants will continue to go right back to work rebuilding it. With final exams coming up, Georgiana locked herself in a library carrel so that she could study with sedulous concentration. Although mules are stereotyped as stubborn creatures, they are actually sedulous animals who work tirelessly in almost any situation. Sedulous, diligent, hardworking, and persistent. Titular, having a completely arbitrary position that is of no real power or authority. England has a queen, but today her position is completely titular and she has no authority in the government whatsoever. We gave the man a titular position so he would feel important even though he is not, and he carries no real weight in the company. We gave him the titular position of assistant president, assistant director, which does not even really exist within the organization. Titular, having a completely arbitrary position that is of no real power or authority. Obsequious. Excessively submissive. The princess had obsequious servants who showered her with attention. Extremely obsequious, most puppies want nothing more than to please their masters. An excellent waiter is one who is obsequious and caters to a guest's every need. Obsequious. Excessively submissive. Partisan. Prejudiced in favor of a particular cause. Because of your partisan views, you are unwilling to look at other options. Since the judge entered his fan vote before all the contestants had performed, everyone knew his partisan vote was for the competitor from his home state.
Boo! You suck!
The partisan press members made a point of criticizing every move the president made. Partisan. Prejudiced in favor of a particular cause. Status quo. The way things are. As a whole, individuals have the tendency to be afraid of anything that challenges their personal beliefs by differing from the status quo.
That's just crazy.
Many employees are joining the union because they are frustrated by the way they are treated under the status quo. A lack of desire to change the status quo is the reason for the poor voter turnout at last year's election. Status quo. The way things are. Unctuous. Not expressing true feelings. When Janice walked into her party, she pretended to be surprised with an unctuous performance. Harrison's unctuous behavior made him seem as if he spent every moment of his life in the theater. Because she wanted to borrow his car, Sarah gave her father unctuous praise. Unctuous. Not expressing true feelings. Attrition. A decrease in the number of staff or personnel as a result of replacements not been hired when employees leave. Police officer attrition is making it difficult for law enforcement to safeguard the entire community. As a result of teacher attrition, a lot of classrooms are overcrowded. The company president is using attrition to save money by not hiring new employees. Attrition. A decrease in the number of staff or personnel as a result of replacements not been hired when employees leave. Encomium. Speech or piece of writing that warmly praises someone or something. A tribute. Mrs. Poundstone was surprised and delighted on the last day of school when the students in her most difficult class presented her with an encomium they had written praising her work as a teacher. After William wrote an encomium applauding all the improvements that the principal had made at the school, he offered to read it to the crowd at the retirement party. Even though you love pepperoni pizza, don't you think it's a little silly to write an encomium glorifying it? Encomium. Speech or piece of writing that warmly praises someone or something. A tribute. Happy, peaceful, picturesque. Idyllic. To get around something. Circumvent. Excessively submissive. Obsequious. To attract or interest someone. Beguile. Someone who is irresponsible or ineffective. Feckless. Not expressing true feelings. Unctuous. The way things are. Status quo. Prejudiced in favor of a particular cause. Partisan. Even though, although. Albeit. Diligent, hardworking, and persistent. Sedulous. A difference between two opposite things or ideas. Dichotomy. Angelic and stunning. Seraphic. Great praise for someone, often more than what is deserved. Adulation. Unsophisticated, simplistic. Jejune. A decrease in the number of staff or personnel as a result of replacements not been hired when employees leave. Attrition. Having a large appetite, greedy. Voracious. Having a completely arbitrary position that is of no real power or authority. Titular. Brief interval of rest or relief. Respite. Speech or piece of writing that warmly praises someone or something, a tribute. Encomium. To give a false impression of. Belie.